British rock band Foals are back with their fifth studio album, Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost, which is a two-part album. The second part I think is coming later in the year, probably like autumn time I imagine. I'm quite a fan of this band. If anyone remembers, I did do a decade later on Antidotes, which is a fantastic album. It's a great blend of math rock, dance pop, dance punk, indie rock. It is such a joyous listen, honestly, such a great album. Go listen to that if you've never heard it, and I think at this point a lot of Foals fans will agree that it is their best album to date, and they haven't quite captured that magic on that debut since then. However, with this new album, Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost, I think it's heading back in that sort of dancey direction, which I think a lot of fans will be pleased with. Of course, they've continued to do that sound on other albums, but I don't really feel like they've kept it up very cleanly throughout the entirety of each album. Maybe it'll just burst out on a single or a few songs every so often, like a track like My Number, but on this album I do feel like they've consistently kept it up, and it's made for a really good listen. The singles leading up to this album are fantastic. They are just classic Foals, so well crafted tracks, so catchy, great riffs, a fantastic stellar hook to sing along to. I said I'm so sorry that the world is falling down on a lunar. Great hooks on this album. I mean, when they're at their best, when they spout out these hooks, they are formidable. Like, not many bands can quite reach this type of catchiness in this style of music, I don't think. Especially in terms of UK bands, they're certainly more enjoyable than your typical leather jacket indie rock band that you stumble across everywhere you go. Some of the hooks do get dragged out a little bit though, like they have a bit of a timekeeping problem I think on some of these songs, where they'll repeat the chorus one too many times, like to the point where you're just kind of ready for it to get wrapped up, you know, or you've heard the same refrain just a little too much to the point where it's not as fun as if it had maybe been cut down by like 30 seconds to a minute, you know, maybe keep the songs like 4 minutes instead or something like that. Not really a big issue, but I definitely think it does kind of stretch out the songs just a little too much, little unnecessarily. I do really feel like they capture that essence really well of their like kind of like slight blend of math rock on some tracks, like on White Onions. It's not really you know, in that vein in the same way as it was on Antidotes, but it's just a nice little throwback, a nice little reminder that when they're really jamming together as a band, they can come through with some really well crafted songs and some great riffs. It really is nice to listen to. It just feels very in the moment, like the band are just having such a great time playing these songs. It does sound really good. They go ahead and take a step further and go the extra mile on a track like Sunday, which is this epic piece of music that just has this really nice slow build, and the build just comes out of nowhere really. I really find it quite impressive that each time I was listening to it, of course I'd listened to the song so many times, but yeah, it just seems to come out of nowhere, and it was just really refreshing every listen. It feels like a Britpop anthem, like being extended out to new heights that probably wasn't even taken back in the Britpop heyday, really. I really like what they're doing with this track, and then in the second half where it just transitions into this really great funky dance groove. It's honestly a fantastic song that has so many different layers and different, you know, peaks. It really is probably one of the best songs I think they've heard from these guys in quite a long time. Yeah, sure, I have a lot of fun with tracks like On the Luna or Exits, but you know, at least with a track like this, I feel like they're taking it to the next level and doing something completely new and fresh for the band. I will say though, that ambitious approach doesn't quite work on a song like Cafe de Athens though, where it honestly feels like they're heading into like psychedelic territory. Like they're really going for something quite, you know, unique here. But I personally just find it to be a little stale, kind of gets really boring and dull. Again, it's a moment on the album where I feel like the song could have just been a bit shorter. I mean, it's not even a long song itself, but I do feel like everything that they're going for, I'm ready to skip really quickly into the song. Like, I just don't really feel what they're doing here quite executed in the best type of way. Especially in the latter section of the song where like the vocals get all warped and distorted. It kind of sounds like impressive for what they're going for, but there's just this drum and bass beat that feels really like ordinary. Like, I don't know, I just think like the rhythmic beats that this band can come up with can be really impressive at times, but this just one beat on the song I just was really like nah. Yeah, I certainly appreciate the ambition that they're going for, but just on this one song, I just don't feel like it quite got there for me. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good album. It's a good, impressive release from Foals. I hope it does well for the band too, because I think they deserve it after putting this out. And the singles, like I said, are really good. Deeper cuts as well, like White Onions, a great track. Like there's so many great danceable indie rock jams on this album that you can't really deny. So yeah, I think a 7 out of 10 I'm going to go with here. I think this is a good album. Definitely looking forward to see what they do with the part 2 of this little double album that they've got going on here. And but for part 1 for now, I think this is really good. Let me know your thoughts if you listen to it, and do check it out if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.